So I recently took a trip to Cracker Barrel. And if you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, it's a southern style cooking restaurant that has their own general store. And it's themed on a very old time general store layout. The restaurant's very chaotic, very loud. I don't really recommend it. But one of the things that they have near the front is a whole slew of root beers. And I mean, I like root beer, don't get me wrong, root beer is good, but I've never actually sat down and said, hey, this is my favorite brand of root beer. I know some people are, it's only A&W or it's only Barks root beer. And in fact, if you look at my options today, A&W and Barks are not on the list. Well, at Cracker Barrel, they had a number of glass bottled root beers. And I figured if I'm going to try this, I grabbed all the different root beers they had. Now, they had some other sodas. They had sarsaparillas, they had dark cherry colas, and I didn't want to try all of that. I wanted to try the root beers. And so, of the options, we have this Bundaberg Australian root beer. We do have Hank's Gourmet root beer. Don't know what makes it gourmet. We have the Boylan Bottling Company root beer. We have Dad's Famous root beer. And those were the four that they had at the Cracker Barrel. But I also got this IBC root beer because it was in a glass bottle while I was at my local grocery store. At my local grocery store, they also had the A&W, they had the Barks, but they did not have them in a glass bottle. And since these other four were in glass bottles, I said, let me try to stick with only glass bottles. So today, I'm going to be testing these different root beers and give you my opinions and tell you which one I think is certified best. Now, I have no qualifications in this field, so take what you hear here with a grain of salt, but maybe you learned something, maybe you want to try something yourself, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, over here we have the IBC root beer. IBC was established in 1918, which IBC, if you didn't know, stands for the Independent Brewers Company. And they started in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's caffeine free. So we're going to go ahead and pour that into the bottle. Now, as you might notice, I'm not using any ice. I don't want any watered down flavor. So I want to try this for what it's worth. But that is the IBC right there. So next up was the Dad's Famous root beer. Now, Dad's Famous root beer. Oh, sorry, Dad's Old Fashioned root beer, my bad. It was established in 1937. It's also caffeine free and was established in Chicago. So another state's option for root beer. Now, a lot of root beer came out during that prohibition time, and when they couldn't make regular beer, they decided, well, let's come up with something else. So all of these are non-alcoholic, of course, because most root beers are. I'm not really versed in the alcohol scene, so I couldn't tell you if there are any alcoholic root beers. I imagine there would be. Now, next up is the Boylan Boylan Bottling Company. They were established in 1891. This is the oldest root beer that I'll be trying today. And they come out of Peterson, New Jersey. That's the Boylan Bottling Company. I'm already noticing the color on the Boylan is much lighter. I don't know if this comes out on camera, but it's much lighter on the Boylan than it is on the Dad's Old Fashioned. The Old Fashioned from Dad's is very, very dark. Next up is Hank's Gourmet. Whatever makes it gourmet, I'm not sure. Hank's Gourmet root beer. And then you pour some of that. A nice sound with that fizz coming out. Nice and foamy. This is the second foamiest one that we've seen. Maybe even the first foamiest. IBC also came up with some pretty good foam. And the last but not least is this strange little bottle. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Hank's Gourmet was established in 1995. It's probably the newest root beers that we'll be trying today. But next up is this Bundaberg uh, root beer, which was established in 1960. Now, this is an Australian root beer. This is the only root beer that is not from the States that we will be trying today. That's a pretty neat little bottle there. Very foamy. So, first off, before I even get into the taste, that was a really cool way to open the bottle. I don't know if you guys see this. I just pulled this little tab and the bottom piece came off. So that's a very interesting bottle choice there. Okay? Different than all the rest, and it was really neat, really simple to open. In fact, the most difficult one to open was the Boylan Bottle and Company bottle. That one I actually had to use a can opener to open, so you see it's pierced. But I had to use a bottle opener, sorry, to open that one. But when it comes to the bottles, the three bottles that I do like would be from the Boylan Bottle and Company, because it has the embossed glass on there, so it has nice ridges and whatnot. Hank's Gourmet has also the nice ridges on there. And how neat it is, my favorite bottle would be the Bundaberg bottle here. The bottles that are not impressive would be Dad's Old Fashioned, for it's just stickers. There's nothing fancy about the bottle. These are just printed stickers stuck on, as well as the IBC, which is also just stickers. IBC used to emboss their glass bottles, but they no longer do that. On to the taste. We're going to start with the IBC. The color, the darkest color still is the Dad's Old Fashioned. All these other have a nice light color to them, but let's start with the IBC. Of course, smells like root beer. I don't know what I expect to smell, but we're going to have to give it a shot. It's creamy. It has a very good creamy, nice aftertaste. Not too sweet. Good flavor. And a nice creaminess. It almost tastes like I'm already having a root beer float, even though I know I'm not. So it's smooth, an acceptable sweetness, not too strong in the fizz. Let me give it another try for that. Not too strong with the carbonation, I should say. It's good. I like that. IBC, it's a solid choice. Let me go ahead and move on to the Dad's Old Fashioned. Wow. Vastly different in flavor. Sweetness is also good, but it's got a fuller flavor than the IBC. It's not as creamy as the IBC was. It is smooth, not like a strong bite. It doesn't punch your tongue when you initially taste it, but it's not as creamy as the IBC. Now, maybe you want a creamier drink, maybe with a little more of that vanilla flavor. Maybe you don't, but that is good. Let me try the Boylan Bottle and Company. Again, Boylan Bottle and Company, going all the way back to 1891. This is the oldest root beer that I have with me today. Wow, that's got a strong bite to it. Lots of flavor. Really, really strong with the foretaste. A nice aftertaste, but really strong. Not super sweet. More of the flavors that are coming in here than the sweetness. This one's really good with flavor. You can really detect the licorice in this one. On to Hank's Gourmet. Again, I'm not sure what makes it gourmet, but we're moving on to Hank's Gourmet. Hank's, again, established in 1995. This is the youngest of the root beers that we'll be going through today. Coming out of Philadelphia, Hank's. Here we go. Very sweet. Very creamy. Very strong on the vanilla. Hanks is very strong in the vanilla for that creaminess. I'm saying I think Hank's vanilla is obviously much stronger than the licorice we're getting from Bolin, and its creaminess kind of matches the IBC from before. Last on my flavor check for today will be the Bundaberg from Australia. Established 1960. All of these caffeine free, so thankfully after I drink these tonight, I won't have to stay up late. I'll go right to sleep. It's going to be beautiful. But here we go. Australian root beer. They say that they let this brew for over 3 days. I don't know what that means. I really don't. Maybe you do. Let me know in the comments. I probably should do more research on this, but this is the Bundaberg. So let's give this a try. Wow. Oh, wow. That has a bite and a punch. I'm not sure what that flavor is. It's not super sweet. It's definitely not creamy. It is not that is pungent. Oof. So, wow. I'm gonna give it a second try because I did try all these multiple times, but wow. Ooh, no. I'm sorry. Ooh, Australia. You did not bring your A game here. This is I do not recommend the Bundaberg. Please do not. I know someone, in fact, the lady at Cracker Barrel told me that this was her favorite, and I do not understand why it is not on my list. Do not go out and buy the Bundaberg. I do not recommend it. It has the coolest bottle by far. I give them props for the bottle, the ease of opening, really nice. But the flavor is just real bad, real rough. I do not recommend. So we are taking the Bundaberg out of the race. Flavor alone is going to knock him way down. He's the Bundaberg, cool bottle, but the bottle, you don't buy a drink just to look at the bottle. You buy a drink because of the flavor. And so for that alone, the Bundaberg is going to be a goner. I'm going to give the Bundaberg a 3 out of 10. So 3 out of 10 for the Bundaberg. I'm sorry, if the flavor was good, I would recommend it. It was really cool with the opening. I like that experience, but no good. Now, when it comes down to, let's say, when it came down to the maybe the creaminess and the vanilla, these two were stronger on the vanilla flavor. And I know these two were stronger on the licorice flavor. So these had more of a bite. These were a lot smoother and creamier. Depending on what you like, it could go either way. But let's go back. So with Hank's, I'm going to give them another taste. Yes, I remember Hank's was strong on that vanilla. Hank's had a pretty cool bottle. They had the embossing. It was an easy just twist off cap. That makes life a little simpler. Hank's has a good flavor. Does again, it has that flavor of, hey, I just had a root beer float because of that vanilla. And I know you get a lot of extra vanilla when you do a root beer float. Wonderful drinks. But I think Hank's is a solid choice. It's probably not my favorite, but through tonight. But with the neatness of the bottle, with the flavor that comes with it, I would say Hank did an okay job. I'm gonna give Hank a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's very strong vanilla. I'm not a huge vanilla fan, Hank, but it is very strong. Going back over to the Boylan, the oldest root beer that we have. So we went from the youngest root beer to the oldest root beer that we have. If I remember, this one had probably the strongest flavor with the licorice. Oh, again, it does. It's I'm not a huge fan of that licorice flavor coming through. That the bite's pretty strong, but it does have a strong flavor. Cool bottle, really neat. And being the oldest one, it has a legacy. It does. So you did okay. boiling, and you know, New Jersey coming in strong here. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give you a 6 out of 10. So you're good. You're good. But I don't think you're gonna take it home from me. Bringing us to Dad's Old Fashioned. Again, good flavor. Um, really good flavor. The bottle wasn't as impressive to me. Fizziness is nice. Sweetness is not overly sweet. I just wish if the bottle was more impressive, I'd be willing to give this a higher number. But for overall presentation and flavor, I'm going 7 out of 10 for Dad's Old Fashioned root beer. And again, lastly, the IBC root beer. Very creamy, very smooth. Bottle unimpressive, but for the flavor and the fact that it tastes like I'm drinking a root beer float, I'm gonna have to give this a 7 out of 10 for the IBC root beer. So I know you probably have your own opinions, you have your own thoughts. None of these were, a knock out of the park. In fact, my old town where I came from, they now have their own root beer bottle company, and that was created within the last few years since I've long moved away. So that's sad that I don't get to try them out as often. I did try them once, really good root beer. And again, I don't claim to be an expert on root beer by any means, but this was a pretty neat idea. I liked the thought of it. So if you have any things that you want me to try different company brands of, maybe different candy styles, different other types of drinks, to rank different Dr. sodas. They have Dr. Thunder, Dr. Pepper. They have Pibb Extra. If you want me to rank different ones of those, I'd be happy to. Just drop a suggestion in the comments. Let me know what your favorite root beer is. Was it one of mine on my list today? Or was it one of the other ones that I know there's maybe 20, 30 different root beers out there? There's probably tons more, honestly. Every single company has their own private brand of root beer. So let me know what your favorite is and what you think of my suggestions. But other than that, thanks for dropping by. Always glad to have you join in on us, and have a wonderful day.